Hi, I'm the Old No, wait, I'm a real person. Oh my god, hi guys. Hello everyone. So today's random video is just me discussing the history and the why I generally think Five Nights at Freddy's is a cultural movement, if you will. I've thought about doing a video on this for a while and I didn't know how to word it without becoming distracted of chatting about movies and games and whatnot. So basically, I just want to say that Five Nights at Freddy's is by far like the most in-depth game when it comes to lore to me. It's just, oh, did you know in this and that? And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I just want to talk about Five Nights at Freddy's for however long I want to talk about it. So yeah, the first one, basic as anything, it came out in 2014, which was really a weird year if you ask me personally, because Brazil lost the World Cup and they were the host nation, and then Robin Williams sadly died, which is kind of sad to think about. But other things that also came out in 2014 was Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a huge gamble for Marvel at the time, which is mental. Which most people probably, like me, who probably thought, yeah, Guardians, it's gonna flop massively and Marvel won't be the same ever again. We showed them as Marvel fans, but I was a big Marvel fan since I was a kid, so I kind of was happy that they were doing different types of movies, but it's not the video I'm gonna make. So this is the video based on the entire lore, I suppose. My little takes, my hot takes on like the history of Five Nights at Freddy's and why it means so much to so many people, and why it's a cultural movement. Because this is what this video is about. Instead of me rambling on for like 20 minutes about like why Guardians of the Galaxy is a great movie. But yeah, so it was 2014. I was 13 years old when the first game came out. I remember playing it, thinking it was good, but it could have been better. And I just still think that like Five Nights at Freddy's 1 is a really good mood setter, if you will. It's like a good mood. It's a good ground level of mood, and I like that in games, and I like that a lot when it comes to movies as well as games, especially have it great when it comes to setting the mood. So yeah. Five Nights at Freddy's 1, 2014, so think of it this way, you're the security guard, basic stuff, you're security guard watching over animatronics and shutting doors and making sure they're safe, which is fair, but we don't know much about it. All we know about the lore at the time was, oh, there was a bite of 87, that's all we needed to know. There was an incident that made the restaurant close, that's all we knew. And then by the time the second game came out, which was like a year or a couple months later, which is mental that Scott Cawthon did it. He was just crazy with the amount of things he was doing. He's like, yeah, you know what? Have a second game come out literally a few months after the first game came out. Like, he's mental for doing that. Still is mental to think about that a game person did that in short time as well, which I best think that probably was like a lot of hours he wants to have that kind of thing. So other things that make no sense to me is, as I'm a huge fan when it comes to those games, like Five Nights at Freddy's 3, I know it's like an amusement park, you're kind of like in a horror attraction kind of thing, and you're basically a new night guard because whatever happens in the first and second game, no spoilers, of course, but like when you're new, kind of finding out the lore more, which is great for people like me who like the lore, my girlfriend especially, so shout out my girlfriend, hi. So, yeah, I generally think these games have so much lore to them that makes these games that more enjoyable and also very fun to watch and listen to and discuss with the community of Five Nights at Freddy's, because everyone has their own theories, which is great. That's when YouTube was great as well. So how far YouTube's come in like 12 years is mental to me. Other things that make no sense to me is just the way these games were. Like just everywhere, like everyone would talk about them. Also, it was at the time when I think Scott Cawthon was like, you know what, I'm just going to make some books as well on the side as a little adventure out there to get the lore out there into the real world instead of on the internet. But other things that make me laugh about the lore is the inconsistencies, which is fair, but also theories are theories, I suppose, where people discuss it at length. What makes these games and what makes these just the best, you know? So when it comes to movies and stuff, the first one was really good. Second one was better, if you ask me, because me and my girlfriend think it was way better. We thought it was just more enjoyable. It was a more enjoyable experience because they got some of the bits right, they got the lore right, but they also made their own little things to make the movie a movie, which is what a movie should do if you're doing it based on the game. Other things that make zero sense to me as a fan of the games is that I don't understand the whole point of the Remnant. I really don't. I know people are probably shouting in the comments being like, oh my god, how do you not know what the Remnant is and what this is and that, the other, which is fair. I just think these games are really fun to look back on and have a really I admire what they were doing for games, because games at that time were just very slow, especially with like games like Undertale and stuff, which is very I never got into Undertale, haven't played it. I will eventually get around to it, but I'd just rather stick to 5 minutes of videos, you know. But yeah, this is new for me. I'm doing long form videos on passion projects of mine that I'm currently working on a Hulk movie review, but it's just why I gave it a second chance, and that's what I'm working on. But for now, I'm just happy discussing 5 Nights at Freddy's and why these games mean so much to many people. I just think these games are fun, a different type of way around it, and why YouTube needs something like that nowadays, like where people will discuss it at length and why these games mean so much to people. Other things that I find interesting about these games is just they're just a fun time to have fun with your friends and discuss the lore with and just reminisce in a way. So remember that time in 2014 when we all thought that phone guy was actually the killer when in reality he wasn't. It was mental. But these games mean so much to so many different people. And I remember the third game being my favourite because it was just more lore and more backstory and more mini games, which is great. I just think these games are fun, different types of games, and I wish more games were like this. And it's also kind of the reason why you don't see me talk about games often, is because games were my escape for a while until I was back into movies. Movies were my escape for a while until I got into games, and then games back to movies, and then got into comics again, and I was like, this is fascinating. And I got into music, still am. Like, I'm wearing a Ween t-shirt, like, what more do y'all want from a person who likes Ween? I just think these games especially are just so fascinating to look back on with high memories from. And also just the way games have become an intriguing thing about it, because these games wouldn't have had the massive fan base they did without like the community like sharing theories and talking about the games. And I miss that type of era where YouTubers would talk about their own theories and what they think of the game, and it kind of helped. Internet culture kind of boosted the game's popularity, which kind of helped Scott in a way, which is great. But these games are fascinating to discuss, but also it's just fun to talk about. I know I probably rambled on for a lot longer than most people would, but like, these games are just so good. You should check them out if you have the time. They're not that expensive. You can buy the core collection on the Switch. You can buy the games for like under like a tenner, which is mental. Because that's what I did. I spent like literally about 20 quid to buy the entire series, and I still need to play Secret of the Mimic and Security Breach, so I probably will play those games eventually. But for now, I'm just going to keep playing the originals and have fun reminiscing of the theories that we've made along the way. And these games mean so much to many people, and I'm glad that Scott managed to keep his original theories and original timeline, his original lore, and it's still intact to this day. And I just think these videos are fun to do. Like, I would talk more about these videos. But thanks for watching, and if you're new around here, subscribe for more videos like this, or videos based on music. I don't mind talking about whatever you want. Peace and love.